All right. Good evening and welcome to the Indie Bandits Twitch stream and YouTube channel. My name is Jimmy and I'm here with Joe.
Good evening and happy 2022, Jim. It's too hard to say. I think we should roll back.
You should have said
Roll back
happy
to
2022 to you.
two. Well, happy 2022 to you too, dude.
Yeah. But you know, you missed
smashing
it.
this content right off the bat. I've got. Well, either we'll roll back to 2019. I thought that was a good year, or we can crack on with this hard to say one.
Yeah.
How's this hard to say year treating you, Jim?
I guess as well as any year that's like 4 days old. How many days are we in now? 7. Bloody hell, when did that happen? All right. 7 days in. I don't know. We just went back to work, so I still haven't figured out what day of the week it is yet. You know, the same problems.
Yes, and writing 2021 on everything that should say 2022.
On all my homework.
Nah. Hello and good evening, randomite, if I've said that right. We always like to start off with a bit of banter. It's all banter. I don't know if we ever actually go anywhere on these streams. It just starts as banter and just remains banter all the way through. So
Yeah, don't come for the games.
I mean,
Well, no, maybe
it's
come
a
for the-
decent enough game. It's a decent enough game. Though I would say this stream is potentially non-canon.
Oh yeah, we're definitely this is our tester stream of what's
Random
gone on
shit.
for bloody ages now.
The enemy has surrounded us.
Yeah,
We are
it's
besieged.
If there's one line
been
that
fun.
could sum up this this
All
medieval
endeavour.
2 thing, it would be what that guy's just said. The enemy has surrounded us. Like, yeah, they have. They've done that since turn 1. It's getting to say it's frustrating is an understatement. Let me play the damn game.
Oh yeah, it's just it's just been arduous. But we are very persistent. I think if that's one thing we can be credited with for sticking with this stream,
Oh yeah.
it's our persistency. Because this campaign's been a lost cause since about 15
Quite
streams
a
ago.
long time ago.
And the only things we set out to do with this stream, I mean, other than just kind of
Marching to war.
experiment, I guess it sounds weird, doesn't it? That, you know what I mean? Experiment with like a longer format and, you know, just pick a game to play.
Yeah, see how it goes.
See how it goes. See if there's something in this long form format of streaming. If the campaign streams would be something worth endeavoring with.
Well, if
But we
nothing
didn't
else,
want
it
to
did lead to an entire stream almost of talking about horse punching. So,
I forgot about that.
you know, that was an interesting hour.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, not that we
You know-
condone it, by the way. That should become that's straight off the bat.
yes. I can't remember which stream that was, but we were stuck on the whole chatting about horse punching for a long old time. But you know, there's something in it. I think what we've learned as we kind of approach the end of this series, we've probably got 2 or 3 more of these streams in us, I guess.
I think so.
I don't want to say I've got streams in us, but you know what I mean. It's something we can and could do. I mean, we'll keep the Friday night drinks side of it. I don't know if we'll ever jump on another like 30 odd stream series again. I think
I think as well
30
we might do a
30 streams.
couple of individual ones, won't we? So we can stream a bit more. Because I think that's one
Yeah.
thing we possibly have learnt from this is it's been difficult to stick to for both of us to stick to a particular schedule. If like someone's busy or someone's got stuff going on, it's invariably kind of fudged it up with the other person as well. So
Ships ready.
I know
it'd be
we
good
sound like every streamer ever now, every aspiring streamer going like, oh, it's just so hard to stream. Woe is me. It is. You've got to find the time, don't you? It's
As you will, my king.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
especially when there's two of us and, potentially three, if we, when we get, when we have a full bandit house, then, that makes everything even harder to plan.
Is
That was
this
something we
Archie
were doing a
Bandit
lot
or
last
Dom
year.
Bandit?
Any bandit, really. Just, I don't know what the pure maths is, but the more bandits you have, the less likely the stream's going to go ahead. Like, it's inversely proportional. The probability of a stream happening to how many people you need to organize and schedule with.
If we have an Archie Bandit stream, I would like that specifically to be discussing the jumping mechanics in popular platformers.
Well, yeah, you heard it here first. It's not much of a spoiler, but the streams are changing in the future, and there's going to be obviously this one will come to an end, but we're keeping some of the other stuff like the demo streams, the indie impression streams, etc. But we're also planning on a sort of marketing clinic and game dev chat stream, and got some cool shiz ordered for that. Amazon is delivering some lights and a mic arm as we speak, so some cool stuff for that. Hopefully
Poor
up the
Mike.
quality. Poor Mike's getting shipped by Prime, but yeah. So Archie Bandit might be back. I was chatting to him a couple of days ago, and he was very enthusiastic about streaming this year. Now that he's a flaming homeowner, and that's all almost tied up. And
So that's what he was waiting for, home ownership.
well, no, I mean, I think the process of buying a house has and other stuff, which obviously it's not my place to go in the ins and outs of all of his life, but
I think, if anything, Joe,
that got
that's
in
the
way.
reason this stream was started.
The stream exists to just dish the goss on Archie Bandit's life.
Archie Bandit, yeah.
Yeah, but no, chatting the other day, some of his resolutions for 2022 involve more indie banditry. So for those that like his bants, you're in for a treat. For those that don't,
For everyone else.
For everyone else, we are sorry and we apologize.
Yeah. For the six
But-
people that really enjoyed it when he was on.
It's more than us, though. I'm not
There's going to be
thinking.
more of it.
You know, Archie Bandit's a fan favorite.
Oh,
like
that shit is on fire.
everyone loves Archie Bandit's bants. Like, when the streams were way more popular when we had Archie. Not gonna lie. Don't know if
Excuse me.
Look, admittedly, it could have been down to the games we were playing as well. There's a lot of factors to consider, but people do like Archie, and I think he's been missed. There was a change.org petition to get him back, so that'll
Fair enough.
that's being discussed in Parliament as we speak.
So it did achieve the 100,000 signatures it was required.
Oh, and then some. And actually, there were two others that were requesting us off.
God, if only his family liked him as much as that.
Yeah, well, at least he's moving out of the attic and doesn't have to live exclusively on fish heads anymore.
Yeah. That'll be a nice change of pace.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, so he'll be back. We'll be back. Potentially the podcast will be back. 2022
will Backstreet
is
be back?
All right.
That's the most important thing.
This high level of banter is sadly back as well.
As long as Backstreet is, that's all I care about.
Exactly. I'm
If there's
finishing
been
off
one
the,
thing on my
advent
mind
calendar.
since the mid-90s, Joe, it's when will
It's
Backstreet
the
be back?
Backstreet Boys. And we've talked about this, James. It's got you thrown out of many places. Who are we chinning, by the way?
I think this is less of a chinning and more of a please get
Okay.
out, please get out situation, because they are a little bit better than us. But if we can keep them hemmed in here for a little bit, I'm gonna I'm gonna get me general to go all around the back and charge him up the rear.
Lovely. Do you mind when we embarked on this ridiculous campaign and you were like, oh, the difficult will be fine. Well, it'll be challenging, but I can do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, little did I know that the just how ridiculous the AI was going to be for the entirety of this game.
This entire stream series could be just labeled aged badly. Like the whole damn thing. It's been fun though. Like I said, chatted, drank some beers, mostly me.
Yeah, I've been playing this game while Joe's been getting progressively arseholed in the background.
That's all the streams, whether I'm playing or you're playing. I'm just getting progressively arseholed. This is the thing. I had to limit for the demo streams when there's like 5 games, because that ended up being like quite a bit of beer, because I would just make sure I'd make sure I'd have a few beers on hand, and then obviously cut into intermission every like 15 minutes as I swap over some games. I'd go and grab myself another beer.
Yeah.
And I can only apologize to the devs whose games were being featured at the tail end of those streams. Those
You didn't have to enforce the
if you shit, take a drink policy.
or the every time you play a new game, down a pint. That was entirely you, that Joe.
Well, look, if you want to be a proper gamer, Jimmy, then that's the rules. Every time you start a new game, every game starts with just inhaling a pint. Imagine that. I'm not condoning heavy drinking. That's just stupid.
You don't condone it. You just practice it.
I just evangelize it.
There's no condoning going on here.
If anything, there's no concern about my drinks. I'm actually just finishing off my advent calendar beers. So, if anything, there's been restraint, and that has nothing to do with the fact that I returned home on the 20th, leaving 4 advent calendar beers. It's got nothing to do with that. It was just pure restraint.
But how many advent calendars did you make? That's the big question.
To be fair, there were 30 beers in my advent calendar that I made
these fellas,
myself.
they're proper spazzing out. Look at this. Whoa. Go on, work them arms. Whoa, they're having a right good time out. Whoa, smash it.
Those nights, I guess, I think have made themselves the same advent calendar I had.
Get out of there, fellas. Oh my god,
Australia
did they
now.
actually not kill anyone? They just spazzed themselves to death. Come on, man. Stop being daft.
The whole advent calendar had 30 beers in it because I just went out and every time I saw a beer that looked interesting, I'm like, I'll get that for my advent calendar. But I'd never counted how many I had, so instead of getting 24, I ended up with 30. But I did leave with 4 left. Restraint.
Yeah?
Yeah, smashed it. Got an interesting mix tonight as well. And for more restraint, I actually have left one of the 4. So I won't be drinking all 4 on stream.
Alright, I don't know what's going on here with these guys, but they're being very, very silly, aren't you? Very silly indeed.
Oh, Randomite smashed it. Less advent, more adventure. I'm keeping that. I'm going to note that down somewhere because that is going to be the slogan of next year's advent calendar, which might start in June. Just countdown to Christmas with beers in mid-June. Less advent, more adventure. That's probably the slogan of the Moors in this game as well. I can't imagine they're big fans of the whole advent season.
Probably not.
Well, unless they like pine trees.
Slain the enemy general.
Because if there's one thing that's super common in in Bethlehem, it's pine trees. Could you argue that this game is the most Christmassy game of them all, as your pure objective is to go conquer the Holy Land?
Yeah, you could probably put an argument for that.
I mean, I am drinking the most Christmassy of beers, a Guinness. This is a terrible choice, by the way. I've got a Guinness, a Budweiser, and some Alhambra. There we go. That's topical, isn't it? Talking about the Moors, and Alhambra IPA. So that's a good mix. Just a
It
cheeky
makes total
stout
sense.
lager and an IPA. I mean, I guess I'm starting on the stout for some reason. I'll move on to the Bud and then finish off with a nice IPA chase. I like how these streams are just over.
I thought you were
away
going to say,
from
oh,
free drink.
I like alcohol.
I do, in moderation, obviously, always in moderation. Yeah. That was an idea we never revisited. I think in our very first podcast episode, we were gonna, in our like tester episode, we were gonna pair games with beers, but then we couldn't go out and get beers, and then a pandemic happened, which made it harder to go out and find interesting beers before podcasting.
My lord, only half our force
I think it's a go though. I think it's an idea. I think there's some other people online that do something similar though. Like I think it's called Play a Game, Drink a Beer, or something like that. It's
All right.
so we'll not steal their USP. It's called that. Play a game, drink a beer. I mean, it's also my life's motto. Drink a beer and play a game. Is that it?
You should get like super on trend with it, and it should be have a gin, drink a beer. No, have a have a gin,
What?
play a game. Get him, lads. Smash.
So I was gonna start this sentence with off topic, as if like we ever have a topic. Like this is not the stream for topics except horse punching week.
Oh, yeah.
But
All of Christendom will be all
But I guess on topic, because I'm making it the topic, when did gin become like a thing that wasn't just like really lame? Remember when it used to be just like the spinsters drink?
glory.
Like
I don't know. It's like,
old
was it
women
like
with
5
tons of
years ago or
cats.
something?
Yeah, like because when I moved to Spain, gin bars were like a thing, and everyone was just like drinking gin and tonics.
Bring the battle.
Randomite's a fan of gin. Like everyone drinks gin, and it's not like
Maybe just people forgot,
old ladies
like
and
didn't
cats.
realize how it was a nice drink, and then just avoided it because it was difficult to get your hands on or whatever. And then people tried it and they're like, you know what, it's actually pretty good.
a
Quite
lot
like
of
it.
people. Yeah, it's funny how like people like stuff, right? You're not gonna change it, but like public perception is like the driving force. Like people have to be reminded of things they like.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey guys,
also-
remember gin
also known-
exists? Oh my god, yes it does. Let's have that.
I mean, that's what happens when you live in a commercialized world where other products are vying for your attention, and you forget about gin. Because I mean, was whiskey the cool drink before that? That was
I don't know.
JD and Coke. I mean, this might be just
I know.
an
Like
age thing.
yeah, I know. I thought you meant single malts or whatever.
Also, I felt that had a phase.
I don't think
Randomite explains that
quite like
gin is
gin.
far too pricey for constant drinking, but something for getting every few months. I think we've got gin in the house. We're
Where do you live? Randomonite. Randomonite.
Oh, I've said randomite the whole time.
Randomonite.
Whiskey and toxic masculinity.
New Mexico. All right. See, we come from the northeast of England, where alcohol is about the only thing that is. No, actually, there's lots of things that are dirt cheap here, but alcohol is 100% one of them. You can get a gin for nothing here. Get everything for nothing. If it's as long as it's alcohol. And your part of the world will be pretty
Peyote
cheap.
juice. No, that sounds gross.
No, I meant you, Joe. Out in Spain, it's pretty cheap for alcohol there as well.
Yeah, they don't put a lot of tax on it, so make the most of that.
What am I doing?
$40 big bottle of spirits. I think that's fair. I was just, I mean, it's probably not
it's
the
not too
price of
bad.
anything anymore, but I do the kind of like, it's like 10, 20, 40, isn't it? This is heavily rounded, but you know, like you get like a naggin for like close to a tenner, maybe like 7 or 8 quid if it's like a cheap spirit.
Yeah.
You know, like those like pocket-sized ones, the flat ones.
The ones which are pockets, you can slip them in your pocket easily.
No, but they are that place that you know, the ones that are shaped like a naggin. It's like shaped like a hip flask.
Yeah, yeah.
Like those are normally like around a tenner. And then you get the ones that are like round bottles, which are not really pocket-sized unless you're a clown, you know, which I'd love the idea. I mean, this sounds like some kind of horrible like art film, doesn't it? Just a clown with like massive pockets filled with like whiskey bottles. Obviously, his like makeup's a sad face drawn on. But yeah,
It's like
so-
all these people that are just grabbing pocket-sized bottles of alcohol, you know, because like, well, I need to walk around, and I
they're
need.
called beers, Jim. They're called road beers. This is why it's hard to like listen to anyone talk about any other form of alcohol than beer, because it's just the winner. Like, it's cheap, it comes in lots of different flavors, and almost always fits in your pocket, except for the famed Litronas they do here, which are obviously the big liter bottles. I don't know what they're called in the States. They call 40s.
Liter bottles.
No, they're never going to go for that. They are never going to go for something that's called a liter bottle. They're like, they'll be like, lighter? What does lighter mean? It's like, it's pronounced liter. I did tell you about the when I went to the Budweiser brewery in St. Louis, and some guy started chatting to me.
They do liter bottles of things, Joe.
Yes, soda. But that says it says lighter bottles of soda. I'm not sure what's going on here. The some of the letters are the wrong way around in that. I'm not going down that road. It's fine. I know what is meant by liter bottles of soda. You couldn't put those liter bottles in your pocket. But yeah, so this guy is chatting to me about the States, and he's outside having a smoke, and he's like, the UK is really expensive. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
For petrol.
And for everything. If I'd said petrol, then they'd be like, what? It's called gas, though it's a liquid. But yeah,
Where
anyway.
are you going, fellas? Go over this way, guys.
He goes, how much is a pack, like a pack of cigarettes? And this is about 10 years ago. So I was like, don't know, about 7 or 8 pounds. And he goes, what? You just weigh the stuff. I'm like, no, pounds is our currency. So, I mean, man, buying cigarettes would have been great, but buying lead would have cost you a fortune. Everything's just, its value is directly linked to its weight.
The battle is very much in our
That's-
favour.
There's no,
Cool,
this
well.
guy was not having me on. This guy had taken the brewery tour one too many times.
Right.
This, no randomite was saying the guy was having us on. This guy was not having me on. He was, dude was wrecked. The tour was free. It was nice watching people get excited about Stella Artois, though.
Yeah, that happened in Canada. It was like, it was on the bar. It was like a
Oh,
like
no.
a nice beer, you know, like ooh, Stella, that's the luxury. I was like, no, it's not. It's really
It's
not.
Belgian. It's Belgian. And famously known as the wife beater over here. Well, not over here in Spain. I mean, over here as in like the UK.
Yeah, in Spain it's El Wife Beater, isn't it?
El wife beatero.
El Wife Beatero.
Oh,
Stella
that's awful.
Artois.
Saying that forest litter is mostly made up of Stella Artois. I mean, all Stella
Like,
Artois is
in liquid
litter, but
form,
not
or
all.
the
But not all
cans?
forest litter is Stella Artois. That's a shit. I really like hate littering. I mean, it's a very easy. You'd think it'd be a very easy thing to hate. Like
Is that
it
a
wouldn't
segue
be.
into talking about litter now, Joe? That's what you've
No,
been
no.
wanting to do since the
Randomite was
start,
talking
isn't
about.
it? All of this
I've
is
just
being
wanted it.
leading
I've wanted
towards
it.
it.
I've wanted to get up on my high horse that we don't punch, and discuss how bad littering is. It's
For weeks you've been
I've
trying
seen-
to weasel that in.
Well, I saw this guy just like chuck a juice carton out of his van at a set of lights, and it's just like there's moments where you see that where you want to just, well, not stuff that I could say on the stream, but you kind of want to pick up the litter and go back to the guy in his van and hand his litter back to him and hope he puts it in a proper waste receptacle.
You know, anyone who's listening to this stream right now is just loving it. It's Friday night, guys. We're talking about
Friday
the,
night, I'm
the
halfway
correct and proper ways to dispose of litter.
to deal with litter bugs. I think the
Settle in
PSA
for a
portion
good
of the
night.
the stream, PSA portion of the stream should be a thing. I feel like a celebrity where we should use our platform for good, Jimmy.
Yeah?
Don't litter. Don't throw shit on the ground. It's not that complicated. Especially if it's a tiny juice carton. It's already in your van. You've got a big van.
That's specifically, this is the PSA about littering aimed specifically at van owners.
Especially van owners. Look,
If
You're
you
not
own a
doing any
car,
favours with your
just stop
driving
listening
standards.
right now. This is not for you. This is a PSA announcement about littering purely for van owners.
look, if your car is so small that it can't possibly fit any more litter in it and all the litter's falling out, then you have some excuse, right? But if you've got a massive van, there's space for that one juice carton that you threw out of the window whilst waiting at the lights. Like, that was an active decision. They went, fuck it. Someone else can pick it up. There's just no need for it. It's literally the easier option is to do nothing. Like, it's an active decision to be a dick.
It is.
Where sometimes you can accidentally be a dick, like I often do most minutes of the day. But that's because I'm trying to do something else. Like, the only way this guy, maybe he was like trying to swat a wasp out of his van and was holding the juice and then it fell out, you know? But if he just littered, he just went, I've got this in my hand, I could literally do nothing and it would just remain in my van, or I could just throw it into the outside world because the outside world is my bin. And I'm a dick. Anyway, litter rant over. I'm getting annoyed. I'm gonna seethe on this. You know, now that I've got started, I'm just starting this kind of subconscious, repetitive thought pattern where I know I'm gonna be like awake for like 3 hours going, should have fucking said something to that guy in the van. Should have just picked up his juice carton and told him exactly where to put it, the bin or potentially recycling, depending on what kind of carton it was. It's gonna bother me. Yeah. Don't litter. This is an Indie Bandits approved message. We're the Indie Bandits and we approve celebrating independent games and not littering.
It's IBAP. Indie Bandits approved messaging. Yeah, no,
We
hang
go
on.
for a BAP right now.
Yeah, Indie Bandits approved messaging.
IBAM.
IBAM, that's it. It's IBAP. How am I, James?
I wish it was a BAP. We don't spell good. I sent that thing in the chat of NBA 2K15. I saw that
I
one.
haven't watched it yet. I was going to watch it before I came up, but I totally
Mate,
forgot to.
it's funny as shit. This voice acting is so bad, and it's not voice acting. It's just the players. Obviously, they've just got them in an audio booth, and have went, "Here's what you have to say," and they've just read it. It's 7 years old, this thing now, but it's like they didn't have like one voice coach or a director, or if they did, that was the best takes they got. It's an excellent just you're just like, how did this stick? How could they actually released it with some of the most awful voice acting you've ever heard? Like, the guy is like, I don't think that's good. You shouldn't have done that. I am very angry with you now.
To be fair, he sounds like he got his point across.
That is, to be honest, I think that line, that delivery from me might have been better than some of this in the games, because it sounds for some of them that and I don't know, but it sounds like they can't read. Like, it sounds like you were in school and you were reading a book, and then the teacher would get like different students to read out various passages from the book. It's like, now it's your turn to read, and you're sat there going, and the dog got up to get that juice carton and shove it in that van driving bastard's face. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad, and you should watch it, because if a game's bad and you think people have been like trying at it and there's no cynicism behind it, I'll take that. Games are big and complicated, and it's so easy to get things wrong. But this is something that, like, it's a huge company, and at which point during the process did someone just not go, this can't go out like this?
This is really bad. We should not publish this.
Yeah, like, I get it when like bugs come through, because you're like, God, what bugs were worse than this that they caught before release? Like, you know, the whole Cyberpunk thing that came out a mess, but eventually I think, you know, the powers that be said, look, it's been delayed, it had to come out. There's no, you know, the QA team would have known how much shit was in that game on release day, but they would have just been told, just deal with the biggest ones. These are the biggest ones, prioritize them. We'll see what we can and can't fix, and then, you know, there'll be people who are like being told other shit and going, it has to come out, because if we miss this window to release the game, it won't properly sell. You know, so maybe that happened with NBA. Maybe just people were like, it has to come out. It's like, how's voice acting going? How's the voice recordings going?
Swimming.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, might need to improve them. Oh, we don't have time or money or funding, and we can't get the players back in the studio to do extra takes. They're like, you know, famous basketball players. They've got things that they want to do, and they definitely don't want to do this. You've heard the recordings. They did not want to do it. Let's just leave them as is. It'll be fine. It's just like, you know, a career mode cutscene. No one will care.
Oh, how wrong they were.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Very much in our favor. If we remain true and
I mean,
steadfast, victory will be ours.
there's moments where you think, maybe it's a joke. You know, maybe they were just like, should we just chuck that in as a joke? Like, it's so bad, we'll just leave it in. Maybe the basketball bits are good. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about basketball, and I don't know much about basketball games.
What you don't know about basketball games could fill a basketball court, Joe.
Yes, those 800-mile long basketball courts. No, I mean, basket. I was going to say basket goes in the ball. Fucking hell. Ball goes in the basket. The only thing... I mean, I like every...
I like these snazzy fellas.
I like any sport or thing if people can just explain to me how to like it. You know, like, if you know what's good, I can have an appreciation for anything, but you have to, like, be educated on it.
Mm-hmm.
And basketball is one of those things that I haven't been educated on yet. Did watch a 20-minute video on different levels of dunks in terms of technical difficulty.
It's a busy day at work that day, was it?
Look, I watch some shit on YouTube. Love it. I think this was probably on Wired. I enjoy their like random shit. What I like.
Have you seen
is
that Last Dance
people who
thing?
like stuff. Last Dance.
Yeah, the Netflix documentary about Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
No.
That is good. You should watch that.
Does it help you gain an appreciation for basketball?
I don't know about that, but it makes you think, oh, well, they were pretty good and they took it seriously, which they should do.
Because like that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if someone can explain and say like this is what to look out for, and it's good when this happens and not good when this happens. It's very much the same with a lot of like esports. Because if I don't know the game, it's almost impossible to be like, I don't know, is that good what they did? Like, I like people who like the thing they're talking about. Like, it's infectious. Like, someone who's passionate for something, even if you have no idea
Yeah. I know what you mean.
what it is. It, like, rubs off. And, like, why I do these series, like, people talking about various things, and this was a guy just, like, who does, like, basketball dunks professionally, and he was just talking through like the easiest one and then like ramping it up and showing you different ones and like telling you how to do them. And it's like, all right, so that's an easy one and that's a really difficult one. I can't do either, so I have no idea, you know. But then you watch it and you're like, you know, you see someone who's like passionate about the thing they're talking about, and you're like, oh, that is cool, that is interesting. There was a great one on beer as well. But that's but that was obviously just pushing on an open door. I already like beer, but this guy's like passion for beer was like infectious, and he wasn't snobby about it at all either. He was like, there were people like going, oh, you know, about craft beers and like real ales and stuff like that, and he's like, it doesn't matter if you like it, you like it.
Yeah.
Neither is inherently good or bad. It's just what people like. So he's like, I don't think a juicy, you know, if you don't like a juicy, hazy beer that's all trendy and that, then it doesn't matter. But for the people who do, then it's good. That's it. He's like, yeah, way to explain subjectivity. I mean, you shouldn't have to, but you know, it is on the internet. And this guy had just like such an like infectious love for beer. They also have videos with like a mortician explaining what he does as well, and it should be like dark as shit, but he likes his job and finds value in it. So
Yeah.
it's
What sports do you like, random a night, if you do like any? If basketball isn't your thing.
Obviously, no, clear basketball fan here. There's fully explained basketball. When the handball goes through the hoop from the team wearing the coloured jammies you bought a copy of, that's good. When the other team stops them from putting the handball in the hoop, that's bad. I mean, it's a proper American way to like. I love it how they call them the bad guys, the opposition team, like American sports commentators. And like, that's a point for the bad guys. It's like, I don't know. It's so like harmless, but like I don't think British commentary would get away with that.
Is that Will Smith and his mate? Or are they the bad boys?
Jesus. Well, this Budweiser is working.
Is that not a movie?
Bad Boys for Life. Fencing? I hope this isn't like some joke about putting up fences. I really wanted to get into fencing for like donks. Like
Fencing's over so fast, isn't it? Like they line up and they're all getting ready, and then it's like quicker than you can even see what's just happened. It's like, yep, you just lost the gold medal.
The light goes up. Yeah,
you're like, oh my god, 4 years of training and it was all over in like 5 seconds. And you're like, what just happened? What just happened?
That would be so cool with like now these like super high speed cameras and stuff that like a load of like YouTubers use now, like the Phantom or whatever it's called. I wanted to get into. There were multiple occasions where I tried to get into fencing, and I don't know if fencers know how to answer their emails, because I have emailed like fencing clubs and never got a like a reply. Both
Is it
universities,
because they're fending off pirates attacking their ship or something like that.
They shouldn't be called fencers. They should be called gatekeepers. Whoa. Said it. Take that, fencing community. Bandits are coming for you.
I like to think of fencers as professional swashbucklers.
I mean, except in the Olympics where they're amateurs, but yeah. Are they amateurs in the Olympics? That's the rule of the Olympics, right?
I guess so. Okay, then just swashbucklers then. Modern day swashbucklers.
Yeah, fencing club emails are basically there for larks. You just need to show up. Yeah, that was the thing, but I needed to know where and when it was happening. Like,
Don't
I mean, that
don't
would-
lie, Joe. You would have worn those colourful pantaloons anyway.
do you have? I don't think they're in pantaloons.
If
think
I was
it's
going to
more-
do fencing, I would be dressed in colourful
you dress up like
pantaloons.
the fucking Marquis de Sade. Yeah, the like websites didn't have that. Yeah, the website was where I found the email, but not the time and date when they meet. I think my fencing experience is 30 minutes when I worked at a summer camp, and one of the activities was fencing. But I wasn't the instructor. I mean, that would have been funny as fuck if they'd gone. All right, I was like, I think I've got this 30 minutes of
I'll
watching
teach
like
these kids how to fight with swords. Don't worry about it.
it's like, yeah, watch the instructor, do the 30-minute session of fencing or whatever. And you go, yeah, I'll take it from here. Don't worry.
Don't worry, I've got this now. I've seen sword fight movies. Don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing, guys. I know once you got the high ground, it's all over anyway.
Yeah, there's apparently not big money in fencing. I mean, there will be somewhere, I think, not like big money, but there'll be some there'll be places where they're interested in fencing a lot. And, they get tons of money. There'll be a club that's existed for like 500 years or some shit like that. They'll do all right. Or the club that's trained every Olympian ever. There's always a hierarchy, isn't there? There's always a tip of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not like football. Either American football or soccer. Jesus. Not like that kind of money. That should be though. But it's all marketing though, isn't it? Like, if you can convince people they like something or show people how to like it, then it can be huge. Like, imagine if they had like the Queen's Gambit but for fencing. You know what I mean? Like, chess saw a massive uptake in
I'd like
in
to see
players and popularity.
if that's been sustained.
Yeah, well, you don't really want it to be on the back of a mini-series. You'd rather it be something... If this was going on for, like, if the Queen's Gambit was, like, a 10-season show, then I think it would do better. Well, that's the marketing slogan right there. Fencing requires a combo of speed, agility, and tolerance for pain. Just take the tolerance out and it just go speed, agility, pain. Welcome to fencing.
With some, like, sort of rock in the background.
Oh, of course. I mean, I can only assume that's what the experience is like in
Oh, add pantaloons to
In the
that as well.
States.
I think they should bring pantaloons into it. That would sell it for me.
Yeah, but I don't think over the pond they'd go for that. I think they'd have to be like pimp tracksuits.
Pimp tracksuits.
I mean, like pimp as in cool, not tracksuits that pimps. Though that could work. Just every fencer with a big like fedora and a feather. dressed like the fucking mask. I assume that's it. Was the mask dressed as the pimp? You know, his big yellow canary suit with the feather.
Yeah.
Pretty. It's big pimp vibes coming off the mask now that I think about it. Like 30 years later.
The enemy general. Our men are winning the battle.
Ah, yes, it was a zoot suit.
We will smash
Randomites
the enemy.
bang on the money. It was a zoot suit. Are zoot suits and pimp outfits sartorially related? I feel they are.
Well, if they're not, they are cousins to each other, I guess. Oh, come back, come back, come back.
See, I like the look of zoot suits. I mean, not the cut of them. I don't think they wouldn't work with me. But also,
The battle is very much in our
I'm
favor.
not sure if
If we
is
remain true and steadfast, victory will be ours.
that like they're not for me ethnically. If that makes any sense. Like, I feel I might be culturally appropriating something if I were to wear a zoot suit.
I don't know all that much about the zoot suit.
No, I don't. Randomite seems to know more than we do. Zoot suits are a Hispanic cultural response, and the pimp suit is black, so probably they are.
Fair enough.
There you go. See, I felt there was some something cultural going on. Only if I wore it to mock it. I mean, no, it'd be honourable, but I still don't think I have the.
Behold how our cowardly
It's only
foes
cultural
ran.
appropriation if you're mocking. That is fair. It's
Yeah, I
tough
guess if
when
you're
you
like
British, 'cause I
legitimately
think
into the zoot
love
suit,
it. Yeah,
then,
yeah.
you know, you should be allowed to wear it.
Yeah, it's like
This
if
is a
you
clear
like the
victory.
50s and slick your hair back. It's not like, you know, you don't live in the 50s if you do that. It's a fucking terrible example.
That was
in case you have time traveling hair, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm getting at.
yeah.
That's a good example.
It's exactly the same thing, Joe. Exactly the same thing. Fantastic example there.
Thank you.
You could apply that to anything, couldn't you?
What time traveling haircuts?
Oh yeah. I mean that just it works on so many levels.
I know it says it's like if I wear a shirt that says Guinness, it's fine. If I wear it and wander around claiming to be some sort of Irish stereotype, that'd be bad. What you mean, like large sections of New England? That seems to the number of things where it's like the sort of I'm being a dick, so I'm gonna say it's because I have Irish heritage going on over in the States is like ridiculous. Like some have Irish heritage, be proud of it. Absolutely. Don't just bring it up every time you're drunk and being an asshole. That seems to happen far too much. It's like, that's just because, you know, it's because I'm Irish. It's like, are you though? Or are you just drunk and being a dick? Like, be drunk and be a dick. That's absolutely fine. Many of us have been there. Just own it. At least own it. Don't blame it on some, like,
Don't be proud
don't
of it,
act
though.
like it's genetic from 200 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not. There's more at play to alcoholism than that. Ireland isn't the only country in the world to have alcohol. And not the only people in the world to behave badly on it. It's almost like it affects everyone in a very similar way.
Yeah, strangely enough.
Right, it says we call that Boston. Yes, that's
Yes, sire.
the. It's a weird defense mechanism.
Victory is ours, sire. We have their port blockaded, sire.
Can't read all that message out, but someone says I'm Irish too, and they go, "What county? Or are you just some explicit deleted who drinks too much and happens to have red hair?" Sounds like my little brother. Just the explicit deleted part. He doesn't drink that much. Does have red hair though. as you've explained to me before, Jimmy, as ginger as the day is long.
Yeah.
Remember when he used to look like him who led the Lib Dems?
It's
Well,
ex-leader
also
of the Liberal Democrats. Oh my god, what was he called?
the alcoholic one as well. Not that his alcoholism is funny, but the fact that my little brother looked like him. Ah, shit. Who was he?
can't
This is
remember.
a few Liberal Democrats.
He did though when he was a baby, didn't he?
He looked like Uncle Fester when he was a baby.
I thought he looked
My-
like him when he was a baby.
No, that's once his hair came in. He didn't like grow any hair until he was like 2 or 3.
Ah.
My little brother's relationship with hair has been fleeting. Bless him. Like, seriously, he'd started primary school before he ever got his first ever haircut because it just like it wasn't coming in. We were like, he's born bald and he's just gonna be like Caillou, you know, the little cartoon character kid Caillou.
Oh my god.
Aye,
Oh, dear.
Caillou. Shit, what was his name? I want to call him Paddy, but he wasn't called Paddy, was he? He wasn't called Kennedy. That's the Americans. I'm looking him up. Gotta look. It's gonna. You know what? It's gonna be. I know exactly where. Oh, it was Charles Kennedy. Charles Kennedy.
Charles Kennedy.
Yeah, little brother used to look like Charles Kennedy.
Yes, he went through a Charles Kennedy period.
Yeah. Yeah, my little my little brother took like 5 years to grow enough hair to warrant getting a haircut.
No more wind today, sire.
Then I explained to him that gingers are dying out, and he thought he misunderstood that to mean that gingerness is a terminal illness.
Oh god.
Like, he thought I meant like right now, not that the trait is just becoming less and less common in the population.
Big Brother of
Due
the
to the
Year
nature.
awards in the bag, isn't it, Joe?
Well, I just said gingers are dying out because, you know, every time gingers breed, there's less of a chance of more gingers being made. So the actual trait is becoming less common. Anyway, so he thought that gingerness was a terminal illness. And then when I explained to him that hair loss is hereditary as well, and my dad's been bald since he was 15. My little brother didn't get his hair cut for the like entirety of primary school. You've seen those. You've seen the collection of fridge magnets we've got back at my mum's house, haven't you,
Oh, I don't know.
Jimmy? You'll have seen them if you've been around mine because we've had them for years. But it's just a year by year, like my little brother going from like no hair to just a big ginger mop because he just refused to get his hair cut throughout the entirety of primary school, thinking it wouldn't grow back if he did.
God.
The enemy fleet is
Funnily enough, he shaved his head during lockdown and was proven to be right. It's just not coming back.
sire. We should disengage.
It's like he didn't realize how much of it was a comb over until he shaved his.
Oh my god.
Can go no further this day, sire.
It's awful. He wears it well, but
Splitting forces.
yeah.
He wears it well.
I mean, no, but I mean, you know, like the sort of like the shaved head actually suits him, even though, you know, for years you'll have known him as a ginge. He's just rocking the short hair. I mean, maybe it's one of these things where it'll just come back like it does for footballers. You know, where they've, you know, like what happened with Wayne Rooney for a bit. He was having the widow's peaks were coming in, and then he shaved it all off, and then he was like bald for a week, and then all of it grew back, even the bits that didn't have hair before.
Yeah, but he did come out and explain to everyone he'd spent a lot of money on doing his
Yeah.
hair. To be fair to him, at least he said that.
Yeah, he was. That was good of him.
Sweet.
He was. Didn't he score loads of headers after that? People
Yeah,
were
and he
like,
kept like his celebration was like rubbing his head or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was pretty good though. It's pretty good.
"Oh, we'll catch you on the flip side, randomite. The empty the dog. That sounds gross. I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, that sounds more gross than the dog just going for a duke.
A triumph
That sounds like
Empty
you're
my
removing
dog.
it yourself. Or like shaking it until it comes out.
Or dog is a nickname for your penis.
That could work.
Well,
mean-
people say lizard is used, isn't it? And snake. I mean, I
Greater than
guess the
snake. I mean, snake makes more sense though, doesn't
snake
it?
definitely does make more sense.
I mean, you can't have members on your member. That would be weird. Then it would look. Then lizard would make more sense though, wouldn't it? It would stop being. If it was a snake with limbs, then it's just a lizard.
Yeah, or maybe that's what it was. Those penises with limbs, and they were like, "Oh, we can't call it a snake."
Yeah. I think mine would probably look like an axolotl if it had limbs. Anyway, we'll not go down there. Down there or down that route or continue that conversation any further.
Down there. Good choice.
You
Of
know what I
words.
mean? Prepositions. Fun.
War then, sire.
Dogs need to wee on all the trees because they own them. Are you sure? Are you sure they aren't his Stellas in the woods or the forest? Because if he's been drinking all these Stellas,
The troops are assembled.
he'd need to wee,
For battle.
you know, and he'd also be like, "This is my tree because this is where I drink all my Stellas." I'm not saying your dog drinks Stellas.
He just
I
like,
wouldn't be.
takes a
I wouldn't be
couple of
ever
tinnies
so
out of
cruel.
them.
I wouldn't be ever so cruel to insinuate anyone's lovely doggo is uncouth enough to enjoy the Stella Artois. Archie's maybe,
Archie's
they would
dogs
probably get-
definitely be up for that.
Archie Bandit loves some Stella. Yeah. I was gonna say we don't half talk some shit, but I was almost gonna be like, that's not fair on you, James.
Speak for
That's
yourself.
not
Isaac.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting close though. Getting close there. I'm on the IPA now. I'm on the Alhambra. Are we fighting the Moors or to the Egyptians? We were fighting the Moors, weren't we?
Does this look like
No.
we're fighting anywhere in that part of the world, Joe?
It's Christmassy. Do they not like Christmas?
I don't
They
think
do
it's
in the
a-
Alhambra.
I don't think it's about not liking Christmas. I think it's about the weather.
The enemy have brought up more men. They hope
We
to
were
make
just
up
fighting them
for
all last battle.
lacking
Last
power.
battle was.
We were last battle, yeah.
I just missed them, but I started my Alhambra IPA during that battle. So
Get on
you're
it,
saying this
boys.
isn't Egypt?
This is not. No, this is not Egypt. You are correct.
Geography, son. No, this is the Danes, isn't it? Our beloved Danes.
Our friends, the Danes.
I'll tell you what,
Killing
though.
guys on the way to the wall, man. How let's be fair. You've got the walls. We've got the ladders. You've already got the advantage. Stop shooting me, guys.
Yeah, the
Our men
Hey,
have reached
what
the
are
walls
we
with
what are
their
we gonna
axes.
do when we stream and have to like have some semblance of a topic, Jim?
That might help.
It might. But will the content be as good?
Are winning the
It's
battle.
all about the
If we
content.
continue like this,
Oh,
So,
Jesus, what the hell's happening here? Where the hell did these come from? They're just running past me army. What the hell? What is going on? Shoot them. What happened? I'm so confused. What? They must have reinforcements knocking about and they just decided to run right past. Does that mean we can just run? Oh my god, could I just follow them straight through the gates? I gotta... Well, whatever. They're getting shot, I guess. They're getting shot. Stand and fight.
Oh, there's some. You've got some soldiers lined up that look like a train track. There's not
Over
the
here?
ones up. No, right at the back in the field. Maybe they're not yours. No, they are yours. They're just sort of like branching off into junctions.
Very much in our favor. If we remain
Just
true and steadfast,
makes me want to play Transport Tycoon or Train Simulator. Because both, I know neither of them are from this year, but they are always my game of the year. Need some more Zen games though. It's like there's something to be said for like, you know, super difficult, like mentally taxing games that you like totally engage with and get like fully engrossed with them, and you feel tired after you've finished playing them, but you feel happier for having like achieved the challenges they've set out for you. But then there's also something to be said for proper just switch your brain off games. Like, I love a game where I'm just sat there going, like, nothing is happening and I am happy. Like, you know, like, you still, like when we played Don't Starve, I like chopping the wood down. Like, that's my thing. I like just, like, having something to do, going and doing it, not thinking too much about it, and then, like, returning to camp after a hard day's work of chopping down trees.
That's your jam.
But the advantage being that it's not actually a hard day's work because it's just holding down a button in a game, and a day lasts maybe like 5 minutes. Like, I don't know how much I'd enjoy felling trees for an entire like 12 hours.
the enemy's walls belong to us now.
That would
Well, probably
kind of
not a
come
lot.
back.
I think that would be quite hard.
No, that would come back round like full circle to difficult and challenging and tired afterwards. So the kind of opposite experience I'm looking for in like sort of like zen and chill games. Obviously there's space for both. Time and place. I think this is something that, like, with all games, time and place is like super important, and like where you're at in terms of like your head. You know, what mood you're in. I'll take like, a lot of people didn't like them, but I enjoyed the Telltale games. You know, the story-based games where your choices were effectively inconsequential and you were just watching a film and pressing a button occasionally to tell a character what to say.
Right.
They were really good, like, hangover games. Just lie sideways on the sofa and just, like, occasionally press one of the 4 face buttons on your controller to, like, tell the guy what to say. They did the Walking Dead ones as well, and it's kind of funny because my gameplay style would alter. So I am hungover, I'm more compassionate. Drunk, everyone just gets killed. Like, no one gets spared. There's no saving. Like, you know, at the end of chapters, it tells you like what choices you made, and how many other players made the same choice. And with the compassionate choices, I was always more likely to make them when I was sober or hungover. And the ones where it was like, in most cases, it was like, you know, 75% of players tried to save their brother. In both cases, like, you know, the brother will die. Like, your choice is inconsequential, but it like shows you what other choices were made. And it's like, you just said, "Oh, fucking let him die" when you're drunk. But when you play it like sober, it's like, you tried to save them, didn't work, but you tried. You felt there was value in human life when you were hanging out your ass. But when you were drunk as shit, it's like, I can do this myself. I can survive the zombie apocalypse. I'm always right.
Screw this guy.
Screw this guy. Aye. Though XCOM is a different kettle of fish when it comes to my behavior drunk and hungover. I don't play it hungover because it's impossible, but I did play it drunk a few times, and I play the Iron Man mode where you can't undo any decisions.
It's the only way to play the game.
That was fun, and campaign destroying, to wake up the next morning going, oh, I played a few rounds last night when I was drunk. God damn it! And you're like, all your best soldiers are dead. You're like, oh, what happened? I can't even go back and see because it like, I mean, the mode is great. Like, I think this should be for like almost every game where you just have this. You can't change your mind mode where it just auto saves, and there's only one save file. So it saves after like every decision. So there is no way to like undo that.
Yeah.
There's probably some scheming way you can do it that people have found out, but like, why? Like, there'd be no need to do if you've chosen because you want your decisions to be like final. Then why would you try and circumvent that? You could just turn the Iron Man mode off. But it did not make for good reading when you look at like the reports and the status of your soldiers. After you thought it'd be fun to just do a cheeky mission after you get back in from the pub. Bad strategic decisions are made drunk at 4 a.m. Not just in XCOM. I think that's maybe a life lesson should have been learnt there. But yeah. Again, different games for different moods. There needs to be a big baby drunk mode for XCOM. Or I did consider a secret save, just like a drunk campaign that's like super easy. Just like, you know, everything turned down. Just get loads of mods on it that makes it like almost impossible to lose. You know, shots at 5% probability shots still land. They should have that like big drunk baby mode for every game. Like a FIFA mode where every button is shoot and it always goes in. Just if you fancy playing a game when you're drunk but you know you're too drunk to actually play it. Ironically, I've had some success in racing games after a few drinks. Now I'm not that delusional to think and be one of those weird people who go, I actually drive better when I'm drunk, because that's not a thing. You don't. Though I have done better on online racing games when drunk, but that might just be because the player base that's on at like 4 a.m. when I'm drunk isn't as good as the player base that's on at a normal time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's big drunk baby league. That's the mode where everyone's just shit faced. So you're like, yeah, first place, and there's just a big pile of cars on fire at the start line. Ugh. I remember this beer being better. This has disappointed me. The Alhambra Citra IPA. Notes of disappointment. I mean, what are beer sommeliers called?
I don't know.
Is there a term for them? Like,
I've no idea.
I mean, a brewer, I guess.
Maybe.
I don't think they'd advise the Guinness Budweiser IPA combo for your palate, but I don't know. But still, I used to think that the beer I'm currently on was nicer, and I don't think it is. Though again, my taste might have been ruined by the Guinness and Budweiser I had before that. Who knows? Jury's out though. That beer is the medieval to medium difficulty Total War campaign of beers. I thought it was going to be easy going, but it's a bit of a slog. I should have had some. Is Carlsberg Danish? Some themed.
I think it is, yeah.
Pair some Carlsberg with, the theme being Danes ruining your life. So if I recall correctly, I don't think I'm much of a fan of Carlsberg.
It's a very, very, very average beer.
I think that's it. But I mean, that's it. That's its market positioning, isn't it?
I think Mark's position is the greatest beer in the world. Although that's just its advertising, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's advertised, but yeah, probably isn't it? Probably the greatest beer. That kind of weird. No, that's a good campaign though. I like that. It's very tongue in cheek. Good giggle. But it's a very it's their kind of beer, isn't it? I'd find it hard to believe that it's anybody's favorite beer. Especially anyone who's not Danish.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine there's anyone in the world who's tried more than one beer and went, Carlsberg is my favorite. Oh, I could back it. I mean, there obviously will be someone, but I think it's just, again, by default. It's like saying McDonald's is your favorite food. And not that McDonald's is bad. I'll have a Mackie D's from time to time. But I know what it is. You know? Like, time and place. There are moments where you want that kind of shit. Like, you know, just not necessarily McDonald's, not necessarily else. You just like whatever the main ingredients of that McDonald's meal is. My body needs those chemicals right now. That's what it's after. Normally, probably when you're hungover or something similar. When your body's in a state going, look, this is the only way out of this right now. Anything more refined might kill you. You can't. You were too wrecked last night, and the only food you can put into your system now has to be garbage. Like, that's just how it goes. The body, the body knows what it wants. You cannot have like veggie soup when you're hungover.
No.
It just like, I mean, on the plus side, if it does turn wrong, it's going to look exactly the same. But you can't, like, you're not going to go, Mackie D's is my favorite food ever, and I've tried other food. Like, that's not its purpose. It's there to be as acceptable to as many people as possible, and it does that.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone will be like, yeah, it's fine, like it's edible. It can be eaten. If we were all in a massive like stalemate over what to eat, most, and this is not including people with dietary requirements because I think that's going to be tough, but in most cases, you're like, we can just grab a quick Mackie D's, can't we? We'll just do that. You'll find something. They're just sandwiches at the end of the day. There's different sandwiches. Even the weirdo who gets like fillet of fish or whatever, which I've never actually seen anyone order. I don't even know if it exists. There's got to be some weirdo out there who goes to McDonald's and gets the fish sandwich. Have you ever seen anyone order the fillet of fish?
I don't think I have.
No, I've never been to a Mackie D's and had someone order the fish one. Like, what kind of monster would do that?
Just what kind of monster?
No, but it's... I don't know. I mean, do they do the fish sandwich in the UK?
No, everyone get other side of this, man. Daft buggers.
Only half our men
They
are
must
winning
do.
the
They must do the
battle.
fish sandwich in the UK, right?
We will smash the enemy.
I'm assuming they do.
Maybe no one in the UK orders it because we have fish and chips. Like, if you go to McDonald's, you're not going for something that's widely available everywhere else for less money and better. You know, if there's chippies up and down the country, why would you go to McDonald's for a fish sandwich? If there were burger places up and down the country, which there are, but not at the same price point,
Only half the enemy force
then
remains.
McDonald's would be done, you know?
My lord, only
If
half
there was
the
somewhere
force
that
remains.
that offered better burgers at the same price as McDonald's, McDonald's would... Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say it'd be done overnight, because it still has all the like marketing behind it. But if there was a McDonald's 2,
Return of McDonald's.
Our men are winning
yeah,
the battle. If we
the
continue
Big
like
Mac
this,
Strikes Back,
we'll smash the enemy.
those guys would do pretty well. Because Burger King doesn't. Burger King is damn expensive, right?
I know.
Like, sometimes I'll go to Burger King because I forget how expensive it is, right? And in my head, it's the same as McDonald's, and then I leave having spent 20 quid, and I'm like, the
Oh, yeah.
fuck, I should have just went to a restaurant. But it's also when you're in those kind of modes where, you know, you're going for a McDonald's or a Burger King, and then you're at one of those like automatic kiosks, and you can just click on shit, and you're like, that looks good. Well, that looks good. That also looks good. Do I want the like jalapeno cheese bites or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I do. I do want those. They look good. And then you put them all on, and you're like, 20 fucking quid. Ah. But now I can't take anything off the order because I kind of want all that stuff. And I didn't fucking walk in this Burger King to back down from the stuff I wanted. Like, because I know if I took, like, the jalapeno bites off, I'd be like, I did fancy those, though. And then if I went and, like, downgraded my burger to some, like, not special burger and just a basic one, I'd be like, why am I fucking even here? What's the point? If I was just going to buy, a plain-ass burger, could have just done it at home. I want to buy the weird one that has, like, cheese bacon bread or something weird on it, you know? That's why I'm in this Burger King. I was hungover,
in this
and
business.
I was hungover, and I saw a bus stop that had a big picture of that burger on it, which just happens to be outside Burger King. And now I'm in Burger King, spending more money than I wanted to in Burger King. And I'll sit down and go, this is damn expensive, but I'll still enjoy it. I'll be like, yeah, that was good. I did enjoy that. You know, once you've eaten the cheesy bacon bread or whatever the hell they've just, like, introduced for a limited time. And you're like, damn it. Marketing got me again. And it always does, doesn't it? Anyone who thinks it doesn't is
It'll get
lying
you
to
in the
themselves.
end.
It gets everyone in the end. There is no one who has, like, not been got by marketing in their lives. Some people, I think some people like to act like it's a show of strength to be, like, smarter than adverts. But you're not, like, none of us are. Some people are more susceptible to adverts than others, sure. But if anyone thinks that every single purchasing decision they've made in their life has been completely objective and unaffected by marketing, then they're kidding themselves. Or they are from a different planet where marketing doesn't exist. I mean, if it didn't work, there'd be people walking around in, like, burlap sacks, you know? Like, no one would have ever bought anything that has a brand name on it. And I'm not, like, super into brands.
You love brands, Joe. What are you talking about? Kind of.
I don't know if visibly displaying what brands I have is what I mean.
Oh, you love it. What round we
But
gonna
I
leave each
love
one?
brands. I've got more Versace belts than a Versace shop.
St. George protect us. Our general lies slain upon the battlefield.
What a non-reference. Yeah, there's. No, but I still have. I know there's like if you've had a product from a particular brand,
We continue
and then you go to buy another product of the same type,
without him, his troops will lose their
you
will to
will, if you enjoyed the previous product, be very likely to buy the same brand again. You know,
Yeah.
especially with like bigger purchases. Like with me and phones, like I am not like
By St. George, our men have
dumping loads of
slain
cash
the
on a really
general.
expensive
Without
phone
him, his troops
from
will
like a
lose their
known
will to
brand,
fight.
but the brands I buy, like I had I think I had 2 or maybe 3 Huawei's because I took a punt on a cheap Huawei, and I was like, look, no one else is interested in my life, so I don't care if the Chinese government is. This phone's cheap and it does what I want it to do, and I bought it and I was like, yep, it did what I wanted it to do and it did it fine.
Yep.
Yes, I agree to the terms and conditions that the party can have all of my relative information. And I was like, good luck understanding a Chinese accent, a Geordie accent, Chinese government. Like, I'm not concerned. And then I bought like 2 more, not at the same time, but each time it was time to replace a phone. Yeah, I went and bought the same brand again. I just looked for whatever their like cheap ass model was, and I bought it. And they got 3 phones out of me because one of them was good. And I think at the time of buying the very first one, a friend was like, "Oh, I took a punt on this Huawei phone, and it was cheap and it's fine.
Men are
It's just
winning
some
the
cheap
battle.
Android."
If we continue like this,
And I was
we'll
like,
smash the
"Thank you, Chao Ping. That's some very good advice." Yeah, it's like, and you've moved here when? But yeah, it's like with phones, with technology, I'm bad for that. Like I'll stick with a brand. Doesn't like ruin my life, but it's, I know that I'll buy stuff and it's not the most objective decision. Like, I don't have a PS5, but I have played it and I think it's good. And I like my PS4. And it's kind of like, if I was gonna get a current gen console, then I'd probably just go with PlayStation again, because it was good and I liked mine. Was the alternative better? Could have been. I'll never know. Is it worth taking a risk of shifting from one to the other when I know this is like, there's like the sort of safe bet, isn't there? You can always just go, it might not be better, but I'm not risking it being worse. That's why sequels work, isn't it? You're like, oh, I could risk 2 hours of my life watching this new superhero film about a superhero I've never heard before, or I could just watch the next Marvel film because I sort of know what I'm in for.
Yeah.
But it's like it's risk aversion, isn't it? And like brands can work on that. That's why the Burger King thing works, because you know what you're getting no matter where you are. You know that it's not going to be like, oh, well, the good chef's only in on Saturday and Sundays. It's like it's gonna be the same. Maybe it's not quality, but the quality is so consistent. Like, when was the last time you went to like a Burger King or a McDonald's or a KFC or anything anywhere, and it wasn't like exactly the same as the last one you went to in a different location? barring like the weird international shit where it like blows your mind because they've got like, you know, the mac paella or something like that. They don't have the mac paella here, by the way. I thought I should let you know that. It's
Bit devastated about that.
they do have, I think they have a mac jamon though, here in Spain. The breakfast doesn't come with hash browns though, which really annoys me. But it does. But you can get just a like toast and tomato and toast tomato. But yeah, just toast tomato and olive oil. You can get just a classic tostada as their breakfast. It's like, it's funny as fuck because you can get that everywhere in Spain. From any cafe, someone will do you like a toast with olive oil and crushed tomatoes.
Nice. I don't.
But you
think
could
I'm-
go and get it from Mikey D's as well if you were really in a bind and you find yourself at Mikey D's and you don't know what to do with your life.
No match for the valor and force of our arms.
Then you could go get one of their tostadas. I can only imagine that happens to Spaniards who need their breakfast but have an early train or airplane to catch. Like, that's the only situation that they sell those like those mac tostadas or whatever they're called.
My lord, our men are in command of the castle.
So I think in France they do like a mac croque monsieur. This is getting very Pulp Fiction, isn't it? Talking about different different McDonald's menu items from around Europe.
Oh no.
This is the
If we continue like
the
this, we will smash
medieval 2 McDonald's menu.
Oh my god, am I not going to win this because they still have the...
The day is done, and our enemies have command of the.
Are you
field.
serious?
Only
Oh my
just.
god. How ridiculous is that? I'm in the bloody
house-
castle. I'm in the castle and it's ended because it ran out of time. That
The
is
clock's back on,
unbelievable.
though?
They've got about 6 people left.
Yes,
And the clock's back on as well. Yeah, the clock restarted at like 3 minutes as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Bug.
ridiculous.
Someone should report that bug.
sire. Orders. Sire.
What on earth just happened there? I'm literally in there capturing it. They've got like 3 soldiers left and... Okay. Oh my god.
Sire. Orders. Sire. By your command. Merging armies,
Ridiculous.
my lord. Orders.
What else can I shove to them?
Orders. Sire.
Excuse me.
Combining forces, sire.
You know that.
You're gonna have to prove you can't sweat soon, James, with lines like that.
Aye, sire.
It's topical because kings and stuff.
Right. It's all good there.
Sire.
When did we get Bologna?
The enemy has
Ages
surrounded
ago
us.
now.
We're besieged.
Oh yeah, 'cause we've had that line through Central Europe for a bit, haven't we?
Oh my god.
We should man the oars and
Seriously, that's what he's attacking with. What's the point?
Was that Nanud?
Yes,
Oh,
preparing the men to attack.
No, we're under siege again by the Polish. No, sorry, the Danes. The Danes.
I just realized the icon for the siege tower looks like an arcade cabinet. Keep an eye out for that next time. Secret tips on the Indie Bandits stream.
How about you? Go up there.
If it was it's called Did You Know Gaming? If it was that channel, we'd have a whole video series on it. I do like that stuff. I'm not being dismissive of it. I like factoids. Time and place, James. Time and place. Sometimes I want my YouTube content to be like a deep dive and really like give you some food for thought, and other times I want just
Absolute nonsense.
absolute nonsense, or just like Just a list. Just lists of facts.
Set it on fire. None of that worked.
You would have thought it would have with, you know, all the flaming arrows. I'm no expert, by the way. No expert, but you'd think lots of flaming arrows would set that big rolling arcade cabinet on fire.
You'd think they'd all be able to hit it as well. That's the other thing. There's quite a few misses going on there.
Oh yeah. All of them, I think, have just had a few too many Guinness Budweiser IPA combos.
They're on the Joe diet.
I'm not driving anywhere tonight, so it's fine. Unless I decide to go for a cheeky 4 a.m. Gran Turismo session and see if I can beat the other drunkards on online. Seriously though, those fire arrow guys are a shower of useless bastards, aren't they?
They are. Look at that, man. What? They're not hitting anything.
All of them skipped training, I think.
To arms, my lord! The enemy's ram has breached the gates!
Calm down.
These heavy infantry guys.
Heavy infantry.
They're pish though, aren't they?
Are winning the battle. If we
Ours are
continue
good.
this, we will smash the enemy.
Heavy infantry.
They're not the ones. Yeah, oh no, infantry. No, they're not the fire archers, are they? Because they're
No,
cack
no.
as well. Fire archers are cack.
Well, these archers are anyway, because they're just the militia archers. They're not like professional archers or anything.
Why are we wasting fire arrows on them? Because they were proper shite. I don't think any of them landed a shot. Did anyone die in that barrage of flaming arrows?
There was a few people went down. I don't think anyone was scorched to death.
I think they were just being courteous though.
They just fell over. And I'll just, come on, lads, fall over for them.
Yeah, you know, you like when you play, if you're playing football with like kids, and you've got to like pretend they skinned you, or get skinned by them and then pretend that you were pretending they skinned you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that was a really, really good shot. Well done. Over the Christmas break, I was in the park with my youngest brother playing some footy. Well, kicking the ball about because he's back in the like proper into footy phase again. He's like dipped in and out of a fondness for football. Mainly because it's not games, but he's sort of getting back into football. So it was like I was like,
Which one is this?
Benja, the youngest one.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, like,
we will smash
He's
the enemy.
just done. Well, he's not done yet with primary school, but you know, he used to like proper love football. It's also one of these things that I think he used to proper love football when all his mates used to proper love football, and then all his mates got into Fortnite, so he started to proper love Fortnite and
Right.
games. And like, look, we like games. I'm not going to disparage games, but
But I'm about to disparage games.
But no, I'm gonna
Good tidings. The enemy general
Oh.
lies
just
dead.
say that it's
Randominate is
probably
back.
good to do some sports, you know. So I took him out of the park and was having a little kick about, and it was one of these things where, so he wants to play in goal.
He wants to
And-
play in goal. All right, that's not typical of young kids.
It is if you don't want to run about.
I guess so.
And you didn't want to run about. We were out for about 5 minutes. He's like, I'm thirsty. I'm like, you're not fucking thirsty. You want to go home and play station. I'm like, all right. Well, we'll stay out 5 minutes because we're not going straight back in. At like, I think we'd been out for like 4 minutes, and I was getting to the point where I was like, should I just like start smoking shots at him? Just like really like where do you find the limit?
That that should always be a resounding yes, Joe.
Well, do you not remember in primary school my dad sprained my wrist rifling shots at, not in primary school, when we were in primary school. My wrist was sprained off my dad like rifling shots at me. Like going out like it was that awful moment where you're like, well, I don't want to be like condescending and just like kick like really easy shots at him.
As you wish, sire.
But I also don't want to like turn into my dad and like
Prepare for battle.
try and like live out this like failed career of being a goalkeeper by like rifling shots at like younger people. Because there was I felt there was definitely some of that going on with my dad. Like he put some proper nerve on his shots, like when we were across the road in the field, like practicing. Like I think there was like, it was very clear he wanted me to play in goal. That said, they don't. No, I'm not. I can't even finish that line. I was gonna go with some cat thing, and it's and then there would have been some awful words, and just no. I thought better of it. Not that many beers in to let that kind of filth come out. Randomite says, light in. I taught my kids there were loads of light injuries. Don't. But I always went like half force, half speed. Do not take that message out of context ever. We are talking about sports.
Oh God.
Fuck, that's cool. And by the time they were teens, we were going full speed / full.
True and steadfast, victory will be ours.
God. Yeah, we're talking about sports. Fucking hell.
Our foolish general has thrown his life away. Perhaps our chances of victory with it.
James, did your parents ever lightly injure you by going half force?
No, I can't say that happened.
Or but were you ready for full speed / full force by the time you were a teenager?
Oh yeah, obviously.
All teenagers are ready for.
Good tidings. The enemy general lies
I need to
dead.
pick my mind out of the
Sent
gutter.
traitor
Jesus.
to us.
It is.
Are winning the battle. If we
That is
continue like
fully
this,
on the
we
money,
will
though.
smash the
Like,
enemy.
there are definitely some parents who like teach their kids sports and are just like lunatics about it. Then you have that like awful like. You see like the wee kid that's like shredded, or like the wee kids are like future Messi, you know, like sports Bible always has little videos of them
Yeah.
like training and running drills, right? And like the kid loves it, but then you look at, but it's always weird because the kid's like, it's like a primary school kid, like a 5 or 6 year old, and they're like shredded, and you're like, what is going on there? I've never seen this kid, you know, kids like love sports and shit, but they love the fun bit of it, right? Like anytime it gets like difficult,
Hail, my king.
that's where they tend to taper off. Like, you know, when teaching children like anything, you always have kind of got to like trick them into liking the thing they're doing. You know, make a game of it or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
And you see some of these like little kids, like the next Messi or whatever, and you're like, I don't know how much of this like what looks like pretty high intensity sports training they're tricking them into making it a game. Especially if they've just got them like doing weights and stuff like that. I'm just like, I don't know of many like 5 or 6 year olds who just want to sit and do reps. You know what I mean? Like,
all of
I'm
them?
just like,
So now what kids are doing?
like when they're like taking shots, I completely get it. You know, like if they're just like taking shots like top bins and stuff like that. Sure. But like interval training, I'm not so sure. Like, or weights or any kind of like gym routine. I'm always very dubious of these, like, oh, he's just a gifted little footballer.
What's happening?
Randomite says, speaking of context, not sure how many 5 or 6 year olds are into just taking shots. Come to Newcastle. Yeah, they I don't know.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say take it with a pinch of salt, not the shots. Well, you can't, it depends on the shot, I guess. But yeah, gotta be suspicious of these wee kids who are like super gifted at something, and it's like, and every time they interview the parents are always like, oh, they just love football. You can't stop them playing football. I'm like, that much though? Like the amount of football these little kids are supposedly playing to make them that good at like age 5 or 6 is like more than like any kid who just wants to play games would play. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like even a kid who just sits and plays games all the time will eventually just like put a YouTube video on or something, or just not be arsed with playing the game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I doubt they have the attention span for all of it. So I think there's definitely some kind of coercion going on there, or you know, maybe I'm just a cynic. Maybe they are just like proper into football and are just like, I'm proper into football, so I want to do all the training that a footballer does. And they're like, all right, well, you've got to do some circuit training and stuff like that. Who knows?
Who knows?
Or it doesn't look right. You know, when you see you're like, oh, this kid just like loves pumping iron and he's 5, and you're like,
Can't get enough of it.
can't get enough of it. So why have you got like tons of videos of him on a social media thing, and why is he doing that? Like, you know, why is he appearing on all this? Like, we shouldn't know about him, that's the thing. Like, there shouldn't be a media tour.
Oh, he just loves
There should
media
be-
tours. Can't get him away from them.
You know, I doubt that. I doubt they're doing a media tour. But, you know, it's like, he shouldn't be doing the rounds on social media or anything like that. Because, you know, I know that, like, Lad Bible and... I don't know if Lad Bible does, but I think some of these, like, sites and places pay for the content. Not a lot. I think it's very much like You've Been Framed, where they give them like a pathetic amount of money for the channel, but a good amount of money for someone just getting money for a random video they filmed on their phone.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, oh, well, you gave me 200 quid for my video that you stole, but it's done like 1 billion views on your Facebook page. Seems fair. Randomite says they were aggressively into sport. With their kids, it would have had to been a microwave burrito championship. That sounds amazing. A microwave burrito. Well, I don't know about the microwave bit. That always seems to weird me out a little bit. Had burritos today, actually. They were good. They weren't microwave though. I hated cross country. You did cross country in school, Jim? Everyone does in the UK,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because it's the cheapest PE lesson ever. You just are just like run around the field 4 times or something like that. You like running though. Need to get back into that. Didn't show you how much my new shoes just like took a big chunk out of the inside of my foot. It's gross. Just left a big hole. Just from the like, not even a blister. Just like removed a big chunk of skin from the inside of my foot, like around the arch.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. That's why I don't like replacing my shoes. It says high school was state competition. Girlfriend at the time was 2, so we'd run from the town we lived in, and the rest of it and back. See, I like in secondary school. I got into I got decent at cross country in 1 year when I was going out with my first girlfriend because I had a curfew, and I basically wanted to maximize how much like making out we could do before I had to go home. So I'd run down from hers every night, and it was only like a 5-minute thing. For the running. Can do it much quicker now. But it was always a matter of just like pushing the limit for the curfew and just bombing it home as quickly as I could. And I remember from the previous year where I was just like nowhere. I went up to like 8th in our whole year for cross country, like in that 1 year, just running home from like outside her gaff at like at 10 to 11 every night, and then like those like 9 minutes, then I've got 8 minutes, and just bombing the same distance every time. But like daily, it's so stupid how like sort of easy and obvious it is that like training works. You're like, yeah,
Strange, that, isn't it?
yeah. No, I need to get back out tomorrow. It's I just want the foot thing to be healed. So I'm almost 26k. That's a cheeky half marathon. I'm almost considering my mate who was planning on coming over and didn't get to do who came over and did get to do a half marathon, but I didn't. Then he couldn't come over for the half marathon that I did do. There's another half marathon going on in about a month that I'm again not ready for, but might sign up for it anyway if he can make it over, because
Nice.
it's a dinky one though. It's like I don't think there'll be like a lot of people at it. It's not like the proper dinky one that I did a few years ago when it was when there were like, I think there were only like 500 people doing the half marathon, but there was also like a 10k and a 5k and a 2k and a 1k. And the 1k was like for kids. So started this run, and obviously I'm getting ready to do like a half marathon, and there's a bunch of like 7-year-olds like nipping at your ankles, like overtaking you because they're on like full on sprint, because they're only doing a kilometer and they're racing each other, so they're just going full kilter and just like pushing people out the way. It was absolutely mental, because you start the race and there's all these like adults getting ready for this half marathon and like, you know, pacing themselves. And then there's just a bunch of kids, and then they're all like bombing it past you. They're all kids at different ages because obviously the very little ones are doing the 1K. There's older ones doing the 2K. And obviously because we were adults and doing the like more serious of the races, they'd put us at the front for the start. Because obviously some of the kids would have got overtaken. But the absolute front runners for the kids were just ready to bomb it past because the race was small enough that they didn't have like people weren't segmented by their suspected finishing time, as they do in like big events. So all the kids are just like, it was just absolute chaos for like first maybe quarter of an hour until like the field spread took effect. It was a mint little run though. Like I really enjoyed it. It was around Benalmadena, which is down the coast, and because it was so small, they hadn't closed off all the roads, so a lot of it was actually along the beach promenade. Though there was a bit where to get from the promenade back up to town, there was just some stairs at like kilometer 18. I'm like, this can get the fuck. Like I think I audibly swore. Fortunately, like I was swearing in English, but I was just like running along, and it was along like wooden boards on the beach, like on the sand that was like made into a path, and then just up some stairs, and I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Because I'd only booked onto it because I'd done a half marathon and it went shit, and I was really annoyed with myself, and there was one like 2 weeks later, and I was like, I'm gonna book onto it because I got a discount code for it from the half marathon I'd done. And so yeah, I'll just book onto this, and went and did it, and it was like mint route, but I'm fairly certain I finished last because obviously there was so few people doing it. By the time you actually took off all the other runners and just the people doing the half marathon, there weren't many of us. And obviously all the people doing this like very small unheard of run were obviously just people who are like really into running. And I'm not really into running. I like it, but I'm not like really into it. Not the kind of person who would sign up for this tiny event because it's happening and they just like to go out and do a half marathon. Whereas I was like, I just want to do slightly better than my last time because I'm disappointed that I got injured before training and couldn't do a time that I thought was representative of my abilities. So I was last, but did get a free paella at the end. That was unreal. Just because it finished at this big like resort hotel. Started and finished at the big resort hotel actually. And then they just had this big. It was just paella for everyone.
Paella for all.
It was cool. And you just like
mass paella.
Yeah, there's another one coming up.
Another paella.
I hope this one has a paella. It's down Torremolinos, so hopefully it's not the same. Not the same. I think it's slightly bigger than the one I did. The one I'd done that was like the one that had like all the different runs was actually like sponsored and maybe organized by the hotel. What's the Solvang double century? That sounds gross. If it's... Oh, it's an ultra. Yeah, that can get the fuck. 200k. Yeah. 200k, 120 miles. Yeah, it's a... Oh, is it distance cycling? Oh, is it cycling? Hang on. Is it cycling or running? I do need to know whether it's cycling or running because that is that makes a huge difference. I've seen how far people can run. And how... I mean, it's still a long way in both cases, but it's certainly... Yeah, it's cycling. Yeah, like 200 kilometers running is 10 half marathon. No. yeah, 5 marathons a day. That said, like, yeah, the distance is like still insane, but like one of the lasses mates, he does like the Ironman stuff. I was telling you about this not too long ago. Actually, it was shortly before I did my half marathon where I was like, didn't feel at all ready for it because I'd been ill and had no training. And then this guy had went and done some like 18-hour Ironman nonsense, or was it 12 hours? He did like a half marathon, a load of cycling, and some swimming in like 12 hours, and you're like, aye, that can get stuffed. Like his I think his like marathon time in the middle of this whole like Ironman thing was like quicker than my like best half marathon time. I'm like, oh, get fucked, man, get fucked. He's like, all he'd already like swam for like 3 hours or something, and it's just like, yeah, and then just ran out and like smashed my half marathon time whilst running a marathon.
Look to our defense, or all will be lost.
Yeah, Randomites just dropped the link. Yeah, I was just looking on the website. It looks class. That makes like where you do it like makes it the only places I've ran is like here in Malaga and around there, and the Barcelona half marathon, which was cool because that one like goes past loads of like cool shit. Like if you've been to Barcelona, it's all in the city obviously, but you know what Barcelona's like. It's just like awesome architecture and then like a beach, and you like run around like all of it across like a half marathon. But I'd love like somewhere that just takes you out in the middle of nowhere. But normally it's you probably get more of that with cycling rather than, obviously because the distances are longer, you can go further out. But I mean, look, don't get me wrong, southern Spain isn't a bad place to run around either, but there is a reason all half marathons and that all take place in the winter. Why I'm talking, this is why I'm talking about doing one in the one I did in December, which is when that marathon takes place at the same time. The one I'm thinking about booking onto is in a month. It's yeah, you don't want to be doing them in the height of summer. It's
No, wouldn't fancy it.
when it's at its pretty, I mean, even just like training around then, it can be done. I mean, I guess you just put loads of water out, I guess. Not just out and about, you know what I mean, like the fuel stations or whatever you want to call them. I like running in the heat. I ran when they had the terral here, which is just the hot wind. It's like opening an oven. It's an interesting experience because it's windy but hot.
Yeah.
So it's like, so the weather is, so the wind is hotter than the ambient temperature. It's a weird phenomenon. Like sometimes, if you're somewhere really hot and you're like, the air is hot, you're like, yeah, okay. It's that hot, the air is also hot. Whereas this is something where hotter air from somewhere else comes over, but it's like 40 degrees. And I went out and just ran up the hill. It's only 5k up and down. But I was like, I've just got to see what it's like. I'm going out. Obviously, sweating my tits off. It is, Randomite says, the hot breeze sounds deeply unpleasant. It's not even a breeze. It's like windy. It's not gale force winds, but it is, that's the thing about it. It's wind. It's proper windy as well. So it's like, it's battering you a bit. It's like a hairdryer. It's like the entire outside is a hairdryer, and everything you've learned about keeping cool goes out the window, and not just not literally, but you've got to like inverse your understanding of how to stay cool, because you can't open a window and let a cool breeze in. Like when it's, I mean, this is a very European thing, so we're not as fond of air conditioning, but
only intervention by the
you can't
Almighty
just open a
will
window
perfect
and
genius
create like a
bring us
cross
victory from
breeze
this.
through your gaff. You have to actually close everything because outside is going to be hotter than inside. I mean, I'm guessing New Mexico has a similar kind of crack on in terms of like building design and stuff, though a bigger reliance on air conditioning. But buildings are designed for a hot place, right? So in southern Spain, that's very much the case. But it's designed for a hot place, so it's all like white and you can open the windows and stuff. But when the Terral comes along, you've actually got to like shut all the windows. And it's sort of counterintuitive, especially if you have no air conditioning. You're just closing the windows to keep the hot air from getting in. And you've got to make it like dark as well. So you've got to like close all your shutters and stuff in the middle because you can't have you don't want the winter coming in. And you also don't want the sunlight coming in because that'll start heating everything up. So you've just kind of got to sit in the dark in the middle of the day.
Base cur to hell.
It's rather weird, but it's certainly worth experiencing. Oh, we don't have heavily insulated walls. All the walls in like southern Spain are like thin as fuck. Oh, we don't have the dust. Oh no, occasionally we get the dusty stuff from Morocco. I say in New Mexico they have dusty winds, so you don't leave a door open because a door or a window open because you have because everything gets covered in clots. I think we sometimes get some Saharan winds. Might be mistaken. Maybe not Saharan, but like North African winds. You know, that bring a lot of sand over them. Oh no, sand. Well, this is from 2016, but sandstorm from Sahara hits Spain. I was there for that as well. Called Kalima. Kalima. Yeah, dusty sand.
Only
Crack
intervention
on.
by the Almighty or a military genius can bring us victory from this.
Don't know what an Adobe is. I've heard of it, but searching for it is just gonna give you right. Huh. The example on the Wikipedia is from Palencia, which is my old flatmate was from Palencia. Is it? Adobe is mud brick. Yeah, I'm just looking up the Adobe thing. It's a mud brick. That's what it's called. Pueblo style. I've seen Pueblo art style. Right, yeah, I know what that is. Adobe looks cool as hell, right? Is it pronounced Adobe? I'm calling it Adobe. It must be if it comes from Spanish, it's probably Adobe, which means this is like Adobe in English, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, we don't have any thick, dense walls. The walls here, are, at least in modern buildings, in historical buildings, they'll be made out of like thicker stuff and bricks, but like everything here is super thin. All the walls. When we don't have a stream next weekend, Jimmy, because you, fingers crossed, will actually be over here in lovely Spain. You can enjoy how thin all the walls are in every building.
Yeah.
I know all of my neighbors intimately. Very intimately. Well, when we first moved in this gaff, we called one of our neighbors was it Arya, Queen of the Night? I think it was, or was it Queen of the Night from the Magic Flute? Because the Queen of the Night Arya, because she sounded like that woman singing in the Magic Flute whilst she was getting some, and we could hear it got that French experience here. The neighbors farting. No, but do have that French experience, but it's not the neighbors farting. No, it's no, you hear everything like all the time from everyone and everything. Just thin walls is just it's how it's done. I mean, most of these buildings were built under a dictatorship. It's not their fault. And obviously the things have changed a lot in Spain in the last like 40 years, I guess, since the end of a dictatorship. Like, funnily enough, all of the buildings now that are in like super high demand in like city centers, especially expanding city centers. Oh, they were built as like not as a slum. That sounds weird to say, but like as like council housing. So all the most desirable buildings were once like council houses for like poor families. So the buildings themselves aren't very good. So now a lot of people are like trying to like do them up, you know, and renovate them. But the base building is just not good. Crack on, the barrio, but it's not. It's not. It's not of the finest build quality, and because of shifting patterns in population, now it's ironically something you end up having to pay a lot for. What's it called when poverty areas are turned over? You know, when like hipsters rock in, gentrification. That's it.
All right, yeah.
It's random nights, bang on the money. Yes, gentrification was the word I was looking for. It's the French term for it is literally like bourgeoisieing up the place. It's class. I think it's bourgeoisement. I think is the.
I thought you were just going to say bourgeoisieing up the place in a French accent there, Jim.
It's just bourgeoisieing up the place. No, it's dumb Bandit voice. I can't do a French accent. Bourgeoisement, I think. There's too many like G's and S's in it. I can't remember. There's one of these words, a bit like a randomite, which has too many too many consonants I don't think it should have in it, and then I can't say it. Embourgeoisement, that's it. To embourgeoisize it. So yeah, it's happening. A lot of places that used to be considered shitholes are now places that everyone wants to move into. So
that was one hell of a one.
Some people are making a lot of money off this shit if they're renting, because there's a bunch of people who just literally had like shithole flats given to them, and now they just rent them out, but they already own them. Do you know what I mean? The houses, it's like that's worked out nice for them. I mean, not their fault, it's the fault of the system. I mean, look, if I was unemployed and got given a free house and the house was a shithole, and then 20 years later everyone wants to live in this shithole, you're like, fuck me, I could just rent this out.
Oh dear.
And now I can rent it out, and with the money off that rent, I can buy and pay for mortgages on 2 other properties. So now I have 3 properties because people aren't correctly managing rental and property building and purchasing, or whatever it's called, zoning, I think they call it in the States.
We shall continue
People aren't,
tomorrow, my
people aren't working out properly how to deal with this shit.
Pardon me. Right, I think we might have to leave it here. It's been relentless. Constantly just defend. I'm going to take this though because I want to get something. Right, you know what? I'm going to auto-resolve this one.
You're gonna lose.
Oh
Do
my
you lose?
gosh.
Wait,
You know, there's no way we can lose this. There's no way. They have 3 units that can actually fight in this battle.
I can't look.
Okay, good. Still lost more than I would have thought, but
Hey, we're only 11 turns off the end, you know. I think it's that. Is it?
we're gonna have to.
It'll be the big. Oh man, it'll be like what? Probably Friday after next. We're gonna. Damn.
It's gonna be the final episode of the failure to. I'm gonna try and take Riga in the next time with King James. Because why the hell not?
Hey, that's that time might work out quite nicely if we if this month goes well and we can put together the clinic for the end of the month, or at least like start the format. Nice.
Yeah.
Shift over, because if anyone follows us on Twitter, and they do, we regularly, well, not now, but in the final quarter of 2021, I knew I was going to struggle to remember what number it was. We pulled a lot of people,
Didn't mean to.
and we have what we believe are some very, very interesting insights on independent game development.
Yep.
If
Hopefully, which will be valuable to people.
Yeah, why devs make games, how they make them, how they market them, and how they sell. So we've been kind of like getting all that together and kind of just, what does it all mean? Kind of crack on. I think you lost that one. Edgar was going to lose, but yeah, we've got all that together and hopefully be able to like just share what we've learned with people. That's kind of idea. That's, I guess, what we think is the best way to help indie devs. Obviously, we still do all the stuff like on the website and through the socials, but we've started using this like community we have to just get information and feedback from devs, which we'll put all together, and then we'll start a sort of regular stream, which is tentatively being called the clinic, I guess, or workshop, whatever. The naming isn't that important, but the point is we'll just go through things that are like troubling devs, at least from a like a marketing perspective, because that's our background. We're not going to tell anyone how to like make games. I think we
No, we'll stay out of that.
like our idea is that there's an audience for everyone. Like there are so many different people out there. Anyone making any game should be able to find some people who will want to play it and buy it, as long as it's of an acceptable quality for the price. They just need to find that audience and connect with them, and obviously convert those interested parties into players. I mean, look, almost everyone in the world likes to play, likes games in some way. I mean, even people who are like gatekeeping, saying that's not a real game, yada 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 yada. People are still playing that game, so you can gatekeep all you want, but there is an audience for it. There's an audience for every game. So what we plan to do is like use our backgrounds in, I guess, marketing and business, bring all this information together and just kind of like work through stuff that devs are struggling with on the marketing side, not the dev side. We'll leave the development to the devs, but just kind of, I guess, just help. Just let's sort out this, weed out all the shit together from a marketing side, because this is just something that comes up again and again and again and again when I chat to devs. Like,
seems to be the biggest issue.
They know how to make games, or they've played games, they have an understanding of games, they know what, they generally know what makes a good game, and they're very willing to learn how to do it if they don't, and they're very willing to learn how to code if they don't, they all of this kind of stuff. But then it comes to marketing, and it's like, they hate it, or they're rolling their eyes, or they don't know what to do or where to begin. And in some cases, I think it's just, it's wishful thinking. And sadly, there's a lot of devs who just go, oh, I don't like doing it. Hopefully my game will be good enough on its own.
Yeah.
And it's wishful thinking. They, I think deep down, all of them know it won't, but they also are just like, I don't want to do marketing. I hate it. It's boring. It's not making my game. I want to be spending my time making my game. I don't want to be spending my time doing something else.
Yeah.
And yeah, so hopefully we'll have a sort of a new stream series that'll be driven by by our patrons. That's where the topics are going to come from. Obviously, it'll have stuff that's useful enough for any dev that wants to, learn more about marketing. I think we'll obviously start it'll have to start at a very basic level, because we want everyone on board. This isn't going to be a master's degree in marketing. But I think if we start, and we'll tackle basically what the patrons want us to tackle. The patrons can offer up questions.
It'll be a good place to start.
Yeah, and we'll start from there, and then I guess like we'll all, as a community, start like learning together and start like really, really getting good at it, because that's the key difference between like a good and a bad indie game. It's never really the quality. It's the one that finds its audience. Obviously, quality is important. We're not talking about asset flips here, but the difference between a good, in inverted commas, indie game and a bad, in inverted commas, indie game is just the one that finds its audience and gets the traction.
Yep.
Like marketing and selling the game, if you want to make a game professionally, that's the game changer. If you want to just hear me keep saying the word game again 80 times in a sentence. So yeah, hopefully that'll be something towards the end of the month, and in the meantime, as we're building up to that, we're there on all the socials, and you know where to find us. Mm-hmm. I guess obviously if you want to be more engaged in an interactive part with some of the other stuff we're doing, obviously the patreon.com/indiebandits, that is a URL, not like the Twitter thing when I say Twitter's a URL. Twitter. At indiebandits on Twitter, but patreon.com/indiebandits for Patreon, where we have a few tiers on there, and I guess the upper two are mainly for devs, but there's also a nice one that's a price of a coffee each month that we're looking to expand, which is mainly for either devs who aren't ready to take the jump to a higher tier, or just people who like indie games. That's really what the focus for that one is, that they can support us and be more engaged in the community, but it doesn't come with the kind of perks that indie devs can benefit from.
Yeah.
But that's where this is all going to start from. It's going to start with the patrons and reach out into the community and hopefully help those indie devs in their games to get the recognition they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we'll try and finish this one off next week, and
Not next week. You'll be on a plane next week, pal.
Before Friday. We're finishing this
yes,
up before
yes.
we go to Spain.
Oh, yes.
So sometime in the middle of next week, we'll let everyone know about that. But we'll kick things off with Ralph here at the start of the next stream, and we'll just try and take as many final settlements before the game ends, and we'll see what the final tally is.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how many damn factions are still in this game.
All of them. They're all still there.
Yeah. The gates.
The fools. Right, but thanks a lot for joining us, and as Joe said, we're there on all the socials, and we'll catch you in the next stream.